Hey folks, I'm best-selling author of The Power of Zero, David McKnight. In today's video, you'll see part 3 of my interview with radio show host Josh Jalinski, in which we discuss whether Dave Ramsey's 12% growth rate is a reasonable assumption for your retirement plan.
We're coming upon a time, I want to get your take on this, all of these 100-year surveys where Dave gets the 12% or 10% or 7%, this was based on a time where capitalism ran free from 1920 to 1999 or 2000. Capitalism has been cramped a little bit of late. With the government has gone from lender of last resort to spender of last resort. The government is getting bigger and bigger, counts for a large percent of GDP, national debt, like what you've talked about in Power of Zero. What do you think? Like, these historical numbers may not pose any reality to what we'll see in the next 10 to 20 years. What say you on that?
Yeah, let's say Dave Ramsey goes back. Dave Ramsey says, well, I can show you 12% based, going back to 1926 on what the S&P 500 has done. Well, here's what I usually say as a ground rule. You can only go back as far in history as you are looking to prognosticate forward in time. So, for example, he recently told a lady on his show, you can get 12% per year between age 50 and age 65. Okay, great. Well, how did he come up with that number? Well, he said basically over the last 97 years, that's what the S&P 500 has done. Well, we're not talking about a 97-year look back. We're talking about at best a 15-year look back, because I think that you should only go back far enough. You should only predict in the future based on what you're projecting, what you're retro looking at back in the past. So if you, for example, went back 15 years and said, what did the S&P 500 do over the last 15 years? Because I'm trying to figure out what it's going to do over the next 15 years. It only did 9.3%. So this particular lady, he's saying you only have to save $1,000 per month to meet your retirement goals if you get 12%. Well, if she only gets 9.3%, she's not going to have 500,000. She's going to have 386,000. What if Dave was really upfront with her? He would have said, if we go back 15 years because we're looking forward 15 years, then we can only really use the 9.3% number. If we use the 9.3% number, that's going to give you $386,000. And if instead of taking 10% out per year, you only took out 4%, you're not going to be able to have $50,000 per year, $50,000, golden eggs being laid every year, like he says. You're only going to be able to take 4% on 386,000, which is more like 15,000. So I think that it's, we use this 12% number at our own peril when we're trying to figure out. I mean, there's real life implications when we use the wrong assumptions. And most of the time it comes down to, we won't be saving enough money to meet our goals, and we will risk running out of money in retirement much sooner than we ever thought possible.
I'm looking for this Ramsey George Camel video. I see it now.
It's the November 2nd one, and the one you're probably seeing is about 2 hours long. You've got to go through.
No, say November 7th on Twitter.
No, it actually came out November 2nd. It didn't go viral.
No, I see this.
7th.
Dave publicly humiliates team personality George Camel for merely suggesting that a 3% save withdrawal rate could be used for a 30-year retirement. The sheer volume of issues speaks for itself, according to a guy named Marvin Bontrager, but I don't see it that much other than there. Did they already sanitize this? No.
Well, Marvin is the one that sent it viral. He's an acquaintance of mine. We follow each other on Twitter, and he's the one that actually found the segment and put it out. And that segment that he put out on his Twitter account that video got seen something like 5 million times.
Yeah.
And so when you look at, you can actually go on YouTube and look at the video and see which part got watched the most. You have all these little tiny blips, and then you get to that point, I think it's an hour and a half into it, where it's just this massive blip where everybody tuned in to watch that particular segment. And the thing that's particularly interesting is that not only does he eviscerate poor George, but his daughter, Rachel, who seems like a real sweetheart, is consistently trying to get a word in edgewise and say, well, maybe George has a point, but he just shut her down time and time again. And so, and then he, of course, went on his screed about financial advisors, mainstream financial advisors, and how they're nerds and their moms basements,
But
punching on
that I take
calculators.
issue with.
So
You know why? I don't live in my mother's basement. I have 7 kids like you do. The other, he's doing this Smart Vestor Pro. I don't know if you go on Facebook. Every single day I'm getting advertised. He's selling financial advisors lead services.
right.
And so he's taking money from financial advisors to give them leads, almost like a Salino and Barnes method. And then, we're getting reports, if you put your name in to get a lead, they have 5 advisors call you within 5 minutes of you putting your name in. And,
Well, the question becomes with all of that, okay, let's say you're a mainstream financial advisor, you sign up for Dave's program, and you don't believe in the 8% rule. You believe in the 3 or 4% rule. If you are consistently preaching things that are at odds with what, Ramsay core doctrines, is he going to excommunicate you from the program? What happens if you recommend a mutual fund other than American funds? What happens if you recommend a withdrawal rate? What happens if you recommend a permanent life insurance policy because you feel like ultimately that will extend the life of the client's investment? So there's this one thing where he claims certain core doctrines on his channel, but then he's referring all of his advisors or all of his listeners out to these independent advisors who I can guarantee you are not going to be preaching the same thing, unless they want to. I mean, there's always the fear that they could be excommunicated from the program. But what's worse is they could be sued by their clients if they realistically put this out that they can take 8 to 10% withdrawals.
Okay, folks, that was part 3 of my interview with radio show host Josh Jalinski. If you would like some help implementing a balanced, comprehensive approach to tax-free retirement that shields you from the impact of higher taxes down the road, head on over to davemcknight.com and click on the Connect with an Advisor button. I'm happy to refer you to an advisor in the Power Zero network that has been trained, vetted, and qualified personally by me. If you're a financial professional and want to learn how to become a certified Power Zero advisor, head on over to powerzero.com and opt into my free video series. Now, if you have any comments or questions, feel free to drop them into the comment section below. I'll respond to every single one of them personally. And don't forget to click like, subscribe, and the bell so you never miss a video. This is David McKnight. I look forward to seeing you on the next video.